My name is Roland Hammett. I'm the assistant pastor at Lehigh Valley Baptist Church, and recording this audio and some of these pictures to share with you some of the blessings which we experienced on a recent trip to Chile and the events which were unexpected by us in dealing with one of the largest earthquakes, actually the 7th largest earthquake in the history of recording the power of earthquakes. And God allowed us to be there for such a time as this, and I'm recording these things to share some needs with you for prayer as well as for your consideration for some financial support. We left last week on Thursday morning to head to the airport, and I wish that we had time to share all of the blessings of what God did on this trip and how God protected us, guided us every day, how God answered prayer, directed our steps. The trip started out exactly in this fashion, as there was a heavy snowstorm going on as we were departing, and there was some doubt about whether we would even get out of Newark Airport, but God provided, and we did arrive safely in Santiago, and we were enjoying our trip. As you can see the fellows there sitting at Dunkin' Donuts enjoying a coffee. As we were waiting for our flight into Temuco, everything was normal, beautiful day, and just enjoying being in Chile. Shortly after that, we caught our flight to Temuco, and we arrived safely at the Kastner's house on Friday afternoon after leaving on Thursday morning from here. The primary purpose of our trip was the ordination of Brother Carlos Cifuentes, and you see him pictured here. And Brother Carlos is a dear man of God and has assumed the pastorate of the church in Loncoche, which Brother Kastner has been working with for some time now. And the reason that we went, the group of men from Lehigh Valley Baptist, was to be there to help with the proceedings of the ordination. And little did we know what God was up to in bringing us there for such a time. In the early morning hours of Saturday, just after 3 o'clock, we woke up to hearing the house moving around and things falling off of the walls, and we heard Brother Kastner shouting at his children to get out of the house, and so we all made our way down the stairs. What an experience that was, trying to go down the stairs in an earthquake. You can't believe how much the stairs will move under your feet. But we praise the Lord that we were able to get out of the house safely, and we stayed outside as the aftershocks continued, and we praise the Lord that everyone was safe, and really Brother Kastner's house suffered no structural damage. They did lose a few personal effects that were broken, that were knocked off of the walls, but could have been much worse, and we praise the Lord for that. Because of the earthquake, we were without power and without cell phone access to be able to get on the internet, so we really did not have an understanding of the great power of this earthquake, although we certainly understood that it had been a major earthquake, but we did not understand the destruction that had taken place to the north of us. And we proceeded as planned with the ordination of Brother Carlos, and there were a couple of other fellows that were supposed to be there from the northern part of Chile that were coming on the overnight bus, were not able to make it for the events of the day because they were stranded in the earthquake zone for some time before they were finally able to return home. But we're thankful that we were able to be there. Brother Carlos presented his statement of faith and defended that very ably, and we appreciate him. This is a picture of his dear family, minus his youngest son, Esteban. And so we're excited about all that God is doing in their lives. It wasn't until Sunday morning when we woke up and the power was back on that we were able to turn on the television and find out the extent of the damage that had taken place to the north of us. And here on a map you see part of Chile. Chile is a very long, narrow country, and the arrow to the south is the area where we were at the Kastner's home. Brother Don Hines lives just to the north of there in Temuco, and up at the second arrow, farther to the north, around that city Concepcion, is the area where the worst damage had taken place because of the earthquake. And that is quite a ways to the north of where we were located, but as we began to watch the news reports and understand what had taken place, God broke our hearts and burdened us for the great need. We saw that great destruction had taken place not only in Concepcion, but in many of the surrounding villages and towns, especially along the coast where a tsunami had taken place and had wiped out many smaller villages almost completely. And we felt that God would want us to do something in this situation, and so we immediately began to pray and ask God about what He would have us to do. Of course, it was Sunday. Many places were still without power. Many stores were not open, so there wasn't a whole lot that we could do, but we began to get in contact with Brother Hines and talk with him as well. He was also broken and very concerned about the needs of the people there, and Brother Hines and Brother Kastner both know pastors and churches up in the area of the earthquake, and so we began to seek God's face and ask Him what He would have us to do. On Monday, we went to Temuco, and while we were there, we began to put together a plan of action and design a way to be able to be involved. We felt that if we could bring some basic food necessities to the people, there would be an opportunity to share the gospel to them. And we praise the Lord for the open door that He provided. As we went to the grocery store there in Temuco, to the warehouse center, we could also share how God provided fuel in a miraculous way at just the right time. There were severe fuel shortages, and really we shouldn't have even been able to leave town, but then, in a miraculous way, as we went into the warehouse supply of this grocery chain, and we were talking to the manager there about purchasing some things, and we had decided on powdered milk as well as bags of noodles, which could be cooked easily. And we thought that we would get enough to bring in 2 vehicles, as well as all of the fellows who were there. And there were the 4 men from Lehigh Valley Baptist, Brother Kastner, his son Andrew, Brother Hines, his son Nathan, and then Brother Carlos Cifuentes and his oldest son Carlitos. And so we were limited what we could bring, but we wanted to do what we could as well as scope out the situation. In the process of talking to the manager at the grocery store, Brother Kastner turned around and recognized the owner of the grocery chain who came into the store at just that moment with his wife. This fellow also happens to have been a landlord of the Kastners when they were ministering in Temuco, and they've had a good relationship with them for years. As Brother Kastner shared with this man, Don Elias, what we were doing, he was so appreciative of our heart for the Chilean people and promised us that he would help in whatever way he could. As a result, we got the food that we were purchasing at a great discount, as well as provision of a truck for future ministry. Then we loaded up the food on roof racks and in the back of Brother Hines' van, and we made our way through the region, which was in devastation. Many bridges were out and detours and so on. So we drove up to Concepcion, and as we were coming on the highway approaching Concepcion, we realized that there was that we were within a short time, less than an hour, of the